NASCAR is a unique sport when it comes to its schedule and its venues. During a typical season, they will visit 25 plus unique tracks to make up their marathon of a schedule. There have been tracks on the schedule from the very beginning, tracks that have held their first cup races in the last couple of years, tracks that once held races and are now abandoned, world-renowned tracks, and everything in between. Hi, I'm your host Matt, and this is NASCAR Track History presented by Dogleg Media. In this series, we look to tell the stories of each of those unique tracks. We explore a wide range of topics in respect to the track, when and why it was built, track records, drivers who got their first wins at the track, memorable moments from you, the viewer, and much more. We go in alphabetical order, and today we explore all that Charlotte Motor Speedway has to offer. But with that intro out of the way, let's dive into some more NASCAR track history. Charlotte Motor Speedway is in the heartland of NASCAR, located in Concord, North Carolina. It hosts one of NASCAR's crown jewel races, the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race on our schedule. I want to give a special shout out to Chili from Discord as well for helping source some of these cool facts about the track. Let's dive in to the basics of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Charlotte was built in 1960. It has a grandstand capacity of 95,000 people. It's a 1.5 mile quad oval with a 2.2 mile roval configuration as well, and it's seen 56 different winners in its time. Charlotte Motor Speedway was designed and built by Bruton Smith and Hall of Fame driver Curtis Turner. Bruton is well known for being the founder of SMI, or Speedway Motorsports Inc. SMI owns and operates many tracks on the NASCAR schedule today. The project would break ground in 1959, with completion of the track happening on June 19, 1960. That was the day of the track's first race, and it would be the sport's first look at their 600-mile crown jewel. At the time, it would hold the World 600 name, later being changed to the Coca-Cola 600. The track would be built with a $1.25 million budget, which adjusted for inflation that's $13.1 million today. These guys got steals back in the day. If we look at Chicagoland, which was built in 1999, it had a $130 million budget. Man, how times have changed. The track hasn't seen a reconfiguration to the layout of the track, and has only ever seen repaves in regards to the surface. In 1992, permanent lighting was installed at the track, making it the largest lit speedway in America until 1998 when lights were installed at Daytona. The track went by a completely different name from 1999 to 2009, where Lowe's would purchase the naming rights for a 10-year period. This resulted in the track being known as Lowe's Motor Speedway, making it the first track with a corporate sponsor holding naming rights. Lowe's chose not to renew that contract at the end of 2009, so the name would revert back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now let's move to configurations, and there are only two of them for this one, so it should be fairly simple. The primary configuration of Charlotte Motor Speedway was previously mentioned. It's a 1.5 mile quad oval. This has stayed the same since the track opened in 1960. It has 24 degrees of banking in the turns and 5 degrees in the straights. This layout has not seen any changes other than repaves over the years. Many other tracks like Atlanta and Texas Motor Speedway would follow in the track's footsteps for their layout. And then we move on to the road course roval. The roval came about in 2018 and has only seen one change to its layout. In the inaugural race at the roval in 2018, the backstretch chicane caused many problems, so much so that they even removed the tire barrier due to many cars slamming into it. In 2018, the chicane measured at 32 feet wide at its widest point. For 2019, they expanded that to 54 feet and added additional runoff areas for drivers. The length and number of turns has stayed the same, however, being 2.28 miles in length and featuring 17 turns. And here's the fun fact. Ryan Blaney is the only driver currently to have won on both configurations. He would win the inaugural roval race in 2018, and at the time of this recording is the most recent winner on the 1.5 mile quad oval with his win in the 2023 Coca-Cola 600. That 2018 roval race is extremely painful for me to talk about as a Jimmy fan. That was a true roller coaster of a day for me as a fan, and we will talk about it in more detail during memorable moments. And then we move on to drivers who got their first win at the track. Charlotte Motor Speedway has been the site of 9 drivers' first wins, and they have all come on the 1.5 mile quad oval. That is kind of surprising to me. You would think that the roval would present itself as a place to grab a surprise win, but we're still waiting for that. Here are the 9 to grab their first career wins at the Concord Quad Oval. First on this list is a Hall of Famer, the son of legend Buck Baker, Buddy Baker. Buddy would grab the first of 19 career wins in 1967 at the track. Buddy was named to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2020. And then the next driver to grab their first career win here would come the very next season in 1968. Charlie Glotzbach would grab his first of 4 wins here. Charlie was known as the Chargin' Comet, and he also holds the record for fastest race ran at Bristol Motor Speedway. And then here's a massive one. A true Rushmore driver, Jeff Gordon, would grab his and the number 24's first ever win at Charlotte in 1994 at the Coke 600. Win number 1 of 93 for Gordon. This was the start of one of the greatest careers in NASCAR history. Jeff was a first ballot Hall of Famer in 2019 and now holds a significant role at Hendrick Motorsports as their vice chairman. And then another Hall of Famer would get their first career win the very next Coca-Cola 600. Bobby Labonte would grab the first of 21 wins at Charlotte in 1995's Coca-Cola 600. The 2000 Series champion was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2020. And then how about 3 Hall of Famers in a row? Matt Kenseth would be the next to grab their first career win at Charlotte. Kenseth would win 39 times in his Hall of Fame career, and win number 1 would come in 2000 at the Coca-Cola 600. The 2003 Series champ would be inducted into the NASCAR Hall in 2023. And then alright, the Hall of Fame streak is over, but the next driver to grab their first win at Charlotte would do something pretty special as well. Jamie McMurray would win in just his second career start, filling in for an injured Sterling Marlin in 2002 at Charlotte. Jamie Mack is a 7-time winner in the sport, including being a Daytona 500 champion, and his first win would come at the Concord Quad Oval. Alright, those of y'all that know me know this one is special for me. I'm a numbers guy, and my favorite number is 25. Well, Casey Mears would grab the lone win of his career, driving the 25 in 2007 at the Coca-Cola 600. Not only is the 25 my favorite number, but this was also my favorite paint scheme of all time too. This is a cool one, and I'm glad that Casey could get the job done in a fuel mileage race like this. It would be a couple years later that we would see the next driver grab their first career win at Charlotte. David Rudiman would grab his and the Double Zero's first win in a rain-shortened Coca-Cola 600 in 2009. Rudiman is a 2-time winner in the Cup Series, with his only other win coming at Chicagoland the very next year. We just talked about him in the Cup Series number history finale, but man, I loved the schemes that this guy would run. And then the last driver to get their first career win at Charlotte would be an emotional one. Austin Dillon would grab the first of 4 wins at Charlotte in the 2017 Coke 600. This would be the first time the number 3 would find victory lane since Dale Earnhardt would win in 2000. Dillon knows how to win the big races, as he has a Coke 600 and Daytona 500 trophy to his name. Now let's take a look at some track records for Charlotte Motor Speedway. First up is the first to win. The first to win at Charlotte Motor Speedway would be Joe Lee Johnson. He would start 20th and win the Cup Series' first ever 600-mile race, winning the inaugural World 600 at Charlotte. And then we go to the most wins. The driver with the most wins at Charlotte is 7-time himself, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy has won 8 times at Charlotte, and it easily could have and probably should have been 9 with the 2018 Roval race panning out the way that it did. Half of his wins at Charlotte would come in the Coke 600, and while these aren't points paying, he would also win 4 All-Star races held at the track. And then we move to the fastest qualifying lap. The fastest lap was laid down by Kurt Busch in 2014, where he would set the current record with a 27.167 second lap. He would have an average speed of 198.78 miles per hour. Now that is fast. And then we go to the most cautions. And this isn't just a track record, but a NASCAR record as well. The most cautions during a race would happen in the 2005 Coke 600, where there would be a staggering 22 cautions that day. This race will be a memorable moment in the next segment as well, but man, this is absolutely crazy. And then we move to memorable moments. And I want to apologize for this now. I kept running into copyright issues with a lot of the footage associated with these moments. I always try to bring video, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. So let's dive in. Hoytsman, Tristan, and Zachary mentioned the first ever Roval race in 2018. This one hurts for me to mention, as it could have snapped a winless streak for Jimmy Johnson. He had the speed, and unfortunately we all know how it ended. Hey, at least I'm sure Blaney fans are pretty happy about it though, so I'm happy for you guys. And then Olari and Nicole mentioned the pass in the grass during the 1987 All-Star race. This was a wild moment that saw Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott battle at the All-Star race. While it wasn't really a pass in the grass, it was incredible that Earnhardt was able to save the car and hold the lead after contact from Elliott. One of the best battles we've ever seen. And then NASCAR fan JL, Divine, Saltbomb, and Nicole's Gaming all mentioned the Busch brothers feud at the 2007 All-Star race. The two brothers would get into it, ending both of their days ultimately. It is said that they didn't speak to each other until Thanksgiving that year, which is pretty wild. And I'm going to be honest, I loved Kurt Busch's gold Miller Lite scheme for this race. It definitely hurts seeing it go out so early. And Junior fans, you may want to skip this part. Impact, Nicky, Oitzman, and Jace all mentioned when Dale Jr. would run out of gas on the final lap of the 2011 Coca-Cola 600. Kevin Harvick fans definitely remember this race a little bit differently than Junior fans did. Junior would make it all the way to turn 3 with a pretty sizable lead before he would ultimately run out of gas. This one has to hurt, especially considering it was Junior's home track and he never grabbed a win there. Ouch. And then Tristan, Nicole's Gaming, Kendall, and Saito all mentioned the 1992 All-Star race. This one is remembered as one hot night, and for good reason. This was the first ever race on a super speedway held at night. They say super speedway because before this, no track larger than 1.5 miles in length had ever ran at night. Davey Allison would dominate that day, winning the race from the pole in a historic race for the sport. Steele and Intimidator from Discord suggested the pedestrian bridge collapsing during the 2000 All-Star race. This is a crazy situation, one that Intimidator let me know that he was actually in attendance for. An 80-foot section of the bridge fell onto a highway in Concord. All in all, 107 fans were injured from this accident. This is a super scary situation, and thankfully we didn't lose anybody that day. And then Moist and Impact suggested the 2005 Coca-Cola 600. We discussed this race earlier as having the most cautions, but it was also one of Jimmy Johnson's 8 wins at the track. It would be a photo finish between him and Bobby Labonte. An exciting finish for such a hectic race. Great mentions, guys. And that'll do it for Charlotte Motor Speedway. Such a historic track in the heart of stock car racing. As always, I'm prone to forgetting drivers or stats. Let me know anything I may have missed for Charlotte in the comment section below. We will be back next time with the history of Darlington Raceway. I know the Chicago Street Course and COTA are technically next, but with them being so new to the schedule, I will put them in a video with a few of the other tracks that are new to the schedule. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. It helps a ton and I definitely appreciate it. And did you know that 74% of my viewers aren't subscribed, but they are returning viewers? If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you waiting for? If you haven't seen the rest of the tracks in the series, the track history playlist will be linked below. Be sure to check out the community tab of the channel. We do cool little giveaways like autographed merch and other goodies, as well as post updates and polls for the channel. You don't want to miss it. And we also have a Discord server. Check out the About section of the channel or the description below for that invite to join us over there for even more fun and learning. But that'll do it for us here at Dogleg Media. I'm Matt, your host, and you've been watching NASCAR Track History. I'll see you next time.